For this video I'm going to show how I made this spiral beaded bracelet. To get started, you want to pick out the colour of beads that you want. And then the cord that you're going to work them over. So I find the ends of these cords, and rather than putting the beads on one at a time as I'm using them, I'm going to thread them all onto the cord before I start. This just makes it easier than constantly taking the cord off the board to add your next bead. And once you've got enough beads on the bracelet, tie a loose knot at the end. This is just to stop the beads falling off as you're putting it onto the board. So you don't want to make it too tight because you will undo that afterwards. And then you can run the beads along and just leave them to rest against the knot. And then you want to take your board and then measure your cord against that. So measure from the bottom to the top, and then just do a knot to make your loop. And this loop is what you're going to work your tail ends into afterwards. So you'll end up with a loop that looks like this. So you can take that and attach it to the top of your board with one of your clips. And then just put your cords into order so they're not tangled up. And then you can attach the other end of the cord to the bottom of the board. Then you want to find the ends of the cord and put one to either side of your holding cord. So to start with, I'm going to do a couple of square knots just to start off before I put a bead up. So to do your square knot, it's just over, over and through, and then under, under and through. And just repeat this for as many as you want for the start of your bracelet. So once you've done your beginning, you can push your first bead into place against your last square knot. And then you want to do spiral knots. So the way you do this is going over, over and through, but then instead of going under, under and through like normal, you would go over, over and through again, and you're going to repeat the first half of a square knot, and this will make the knots spiral around your holding cord. So each time you're just going over and doing the same for every knot. And as it turns, you will want to move the cords to the opposite sides, and then you can put your next bead up and just repeat this process. And just remember to repeat the same amount of knots each time, and don't accidentally go under like I nearly did, because if you do, it won't spiral properly. Just remember going over each time, and basically just repeat this process until you've got the bracelet as long as you want it to be. And once you've added your last bead, you can match whatever you did at the beginning. So if you did a spiral, just continue doing a spiral. If, like me, you did a square knot, you want to do square knots again. So you're just basically going back to the beginning and going over, over, and through, and then under, under, and through. And you can do however many you want for this, just match it to what you did at the beginning. Once you've done that, you'll end up with something that looks like this, and then you can remove it from the board. So at the end, I usually tie a knot as well, just to keep everything in place and stop it loosening up. And finding the shortest tail ends, keeping two for tying on later. I trim off the shortest ones. And I usually melt these a little bit just to keep them in place, but that again is optional. So taking your tail ends, you can just trim a little bit off to make them roughly the size you want them to be, and then if you want, you can tie a knot at the end. I just do this partly decorative, partly just to keep things in place, and then I seal it with a lighter just to prevent fraying. So once you've done that, you've got your completed bracelet and you can just try it on. And that is your completed spiral bead bracelet.